I'm very pleased tonight to welcome Eric Sutton to the podium. Eric became Executive Director of FWC earlier this year. He earned both his bachelor's and master's degree in zoology from the University of South Florida. He worked in government and the private sector since the early 1990s in areas including acquisition and management of public lands, land use regulations, imperiled species policy, invasive species management, and coastal management. He has worked for the Wildlife Commission since 2011, first as the director of the Division of Habitat and Species Conservation, and then as assistant director under Nick Wiley, who is with us tonight. Nick. Eric previously worked for the Southwest Florida Management District starting in 2005, eventually becoming Director of Land Resources. Before that, he held various natural resources management positions for Sarasota County. Needless to say, his first year as Executive Director has not been a quiet one. All of us know it. But let's let him tell us the story. Please welcome Eric Sutton.
Wow, walk-up music and everything. Good evening, everyone. I'm very honored to be in front of you all tonight. And I also want to recognize the former director, Nick Wiley, who's here tonight, but not for the reasons you might think. If anybody sees him with a little doll that looks like me and a bunch of pins in it, would you please take it away from him? No, I'm proud to be here tonight, and you know there has been a lot going on in the past year in Florida, but let me just share with you a few words: challenges, resiliency, and optimism. You know, when I was a little boy, I spent, and some of you may have heard this story, I spent a lot of my time learning how to fish, and off of Sarasota with my grandpa. I saw red tide, I saw a lot of hurricanes. I saw a lot of the same things we hear today, that yes, they're impactful, but because of the way we cherish our state, we're resilient and we have reason to be optimistic. One of the reasons we have to be optimistic is because this room is full of folks like you tonight. A lot of folks that aren't biologists, you're bankers, you're insurance folks, and you care about Florida's environment. And that is humbling to me, that we have seen what I can tell already is going to be the best event ever hosted by the foundation, so give yourself a round of applause for just being here tonight. I do want to recognize Commissioner Kellum and Commissioner Soul for being here tonight. They've taken time out of their schedule to be here. And I will say quickly about Mike Soul, our commissioner. When I was in Sarasota County working, and I was working on beaches, and I got to meet him, he was definitely a guy I looked up to and a mentor, somebody I aspired to. And so the fact that he and I get to work together in commission is just surreal. So Commissioner So, a special shout out to you for all your support. So we talked about some of the challenges. Yes, we have red tide, and we have for years. It's been a little bit bigger this year, but you know what? It's still not the biggest or longest in the history of Florida. Somebody around wood, would you please knock on that for me? Thank you. I see a lot of you doing that. It's been impactful, but because of our researchers and the time, dedication, and support from many folks, from the governor on down, we are putting plenty of resources in to try to understand how, if we can mitigate it and understand this better. We've also, as you all know, and what I'd like to do is invite our Colonel Curtis Brown, who's with us tonight. Curtis, would you come up here and stand with me tonight? I'd like to keep my remarks, thank you. And by the way, a year ago on Saturday, this guy was marrying me and my wife in our backyard. So
We knew those vows tonight, eh?
No, we're not going to renew vows, Colonel. But thank you for being up here. I want to kind of, so before I get into the next item, I just want to share with you, yeah, the job is tough, but yeah, I signed up for it. And I couldn't do it alone. I have just an awesome team, including Curtis and so many others. So I don't speak for Eric. I speak for about 3,000 people that are dedicated and care about this state, and they aren't getting rich doing it. And unfortunately, over 120 or more have been heavily impacted by the most recent event that we will recover from, but right now it is front and center. And I just wanted to say our chairman, Beau Rivard, sends his regrets for not being here because he himself is one of the folks that's been impacted by Hurricane Michael. So if we could show some slides while I speak. The relationship between the foundation and the agency has never been stronger and better. Day one, I pick up the phone and I call Andy. I said, I need several $1,000s to feed our troops in the field. And he said, no problem. And that was it. Hung up the phone and we got busy. Immediately, we dispatched over 140, 160, 180 law enforcement officers out to the heavily impacted area. And Curtis and I went down the next day and we traveled from Weewahitchka, which is in the central part of the Panhandle in Mariana, and then down all the way to Mexico Beach. And Curtis and I have both seen Hurricane Andrew, Hurricane Ivan, Irma of last year, which we're just barely, not even completely recovered from. I have never seen anything like that, ever. And so I just want you to know that later on tonight, there's going to be a gift from the heart. And one of the most important things that our foundation does is it picks up our biologists, our law enforcement officers, it picks them up. It puts $300 cash in their hands when that becomes the most important thing. It helps bridge sometimes deductibles. When we went through Hurricane Irma and I met with each and every individual staff that was impacted, some of them said, I can't afford first and last. My apartment's gone, my wife's pregnant, but worst of all, I'm moving in with my in-laws. That's what motivated me, folks. No offense, honey. I love your mom. Your mom's good. But all joking aside, if you could go tomorrow with he and I in the vehicle and see these folks and just know that water and food and the most basic needs are needed, it changes your perspective. So, Colonel, thank you for being up here tonight.
Yeah, sure.
I think Andy, I think the foundation, I think the brave men and women who were down there without showers, without toilets, without necessary food. They were eating MREs, and they did so with a smile of service. These are the folks you're here for tonight, and I thank you all very much. So have a good evening. I look forward to the gift from the heart. Let's get that up there. Thank you.